Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Shawn Douglas.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and author, Shawn Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 74 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here Tuesday through Friday at noon Eastern time, our new time, noon Eastern time. Join us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. You can join our Facebook group, Life Transformation Radio Community, and never miss an episode by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. Life Transformation Radio is available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, CastBox, the Himalaya app, and the Google Play Music app. Basically, wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe to Life Transformation Radio. And if you think our show is worthy of it, please leave us a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, basically amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, call us up, 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my guest for today, Brett Gilliland. Brett, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Hey, it's good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Man, I am pumped to have you on the show, man. I was on your show. It was absolutely phenomenal. Back in August, the episode had come out, and I had a lot of fun, man. You're a great host.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. You are as well, I'm assuming, because here we are today. I'm looking forward to spending time with you and your listeners.
Man, I got to tell you, anytime I have a wealth guy on my show, or gal, but a wealth guy, it is literally one of the highest rated episodes, especially
right?
If you have a podcast. Every single, I look back at all of the episodes. I keep track of how many guests I have on the show per industry. I've had 6 people on the show that have literally talked about building wealth, budgets, investing, like literally just money, building wealth. And those are of my highest rated episodes, like top 15 episodes, all of them.
I like it.
So I'm excited for you. Yeah, man. So the title of this show is called The Circuit of Success with podcast host and wealth advisor, Brett Gilliland. As one of the founding visionaries, Brett Gilliland works on creating and executing the vision for the company, which is to provide world-class service to clients and grow to be the most prestigious wealth management firm in the markets they serve. Their team and Brett has worked hard on establishing the core values and culture within the company, which creates a positive, energetic environment for their clients, visionaries, and staff. Brett's father, uncle, and grandfather were all bankers, and he followed suit by taking a job in banking during college. He soon realized his heart was not in banking, but in helping people build and achieve their goals and dreams. Brett became a financial representative at 23 years old at another financial firm where he worked for 13 years, the last 7 as a managing director. Brett felt his clients needed independent advice, and he knew he could serve them better if he had the flexibility to offer unlimited investment options. Brett founded Visionary Wealth Advisors with Tim Hammett to provide the best possible services and unlimited opportunity for their clients. Brett sees that there is greatness in the lives of every person, and it's the job of a visionary to help them see it and become inspired by their own vision for their future. The of Success podcast was designed to give listeners a portal into the lives of success-driven people who have shown perseverance, courage, passion, and grit. They help their listeners live the life they have always dreamed of. Their primary objective is to ensure that the Circuit of Success inspires listeners to make daily choices that will transform your life. And with that, go to circuitofsuccess.com. Subscribe to the podcast wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Stop listening right now to my show. Search Circuit of Success, subscribe there, and then come back and continue listening to Life Transformation Radio. Go to Visionary Wealth Advisors, visionarywealthadvisors.com, and connect with Brett. Let him know that you heard him here on Life Transformation Radio. Brett, after reading all that, and I got to know, what is your why? Why do you do what you do?
Well, I appreciate that introduction. It's very nice of you. But, I think at the end of the day, my biggest purpose for what we do in life, it's taken a lot of years, being in this industry for 19 years and learning from lots of great people, mentors, coaches, my family members, my wife, my kids, all sorts of people that are surrounded by me every single day, or that surround me every single day. I have learned that my why is to help people achieve a future greater than their past. And it took a long time. You hear a lot of books you read and podcasts, whatever it may be, is, find your mission, find your why, find all this stuff.
Find your purpose.
But find your purpose, find all that stuff. And it's easier said than done. And I think that it through a lot of work. I mean, I've had an executive business coach since, probably 2007, invested in myself, journal every day, do strategic think time, every single week. It's taken me a lot of work to really figure out that my why is to help people achieve a future greater than their past. And that's what's important to me.
I love that. A future greater than their past. It speaks to the transformation.
It does. It absolutely does. I mean, I think that anytime somebody's transforming their life, it's, sometimes it's from the bad to the good. Sometimes it's from good to great. And I think the more you work on yourself and the more you focus on others, the more you will get in return what you're searching for. That's kind of my philosophy, if you will.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that. I totally agree with that. And it sounds like an absolute plan, because we don't want to sit where we were, but we want to grow. But the definition of growth is leaving where you were. So it absolutely makes sense, and is the catalyst of why I named my show what I did, Life Transformation, because we all go through these transformations, multiple transformations in life, and we go through these different seasons. We have kids, they go off to college, we're empty nesters, we retire. There's these transformations that happen in these seasons of life. And if you're going to grow, especially if you're going to build wealth, or what your business, whatever you're going to grow, you have to grow with it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I think if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And I think that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, or you're going to run a business, or you're going to be a great mom or dad, you're going to get challenged every single day. I mean, there's going to be rejection. There's going to be disappointment. There's lots of things that are going to happen in our day. And I think those that choose to focus on the positive, that feed the positive dog, whether it's the books you're reading, the people you surround yourself with, absolutely there's going to be change. And if you don't stay up with that change, then you only have yourself to look in the mirror and why you're not successful. And I think that every single day we have a choice to make. And that's first and foremost, we got to start with a great attitude. And, if I have my morning rituals, whether it's reading, meditating, exercise, whatever it may be, and, I don't know if you want to dive into those things later or what, but those are the things for me that I have to start my day, because as soon as I get to the office, there's going to be a little light blinking, right? And it's going to be on the voicemail, or it's going to be an email. And there's going to be things that are going to happen, and they're going to come at me whether I want it to or not. And then you're going to get home. And then it's chasing kids and running around. I have 4 children and 4 boys. And so it's, running to soccer, running to basketball, whatever it may be. It's just something all the time. And I always say you have to slow down so you can speed up. And a lot of people are not good at doing that. We really struggle with slowing down.
Oh, for sure. the military always talks about that slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and you have to slow down in order to speed up. And I just want to touch on this. I don't know how savvy you are in different areas, but as a mechanic, we can be fixing something, building something, creating something, whatever, and then we mess up. But we try to fix that mistake, and then we break something else, and then we try to fix that, and then we break something else. Sometimes we just got to set the tools down or throw the tools down and literally walk away. And sometimes you can take this metaphor in life. You just literally have to walk away for a moment, collect yourself, do whatever, meditation, whatever it is that you're going to do. Just walk away, hit the reset button, and then go back to fixing whatever it is that you were fixing. And you'll find out that you get in your own way more than whatever it is that you're trying to build is in your way.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And I think a lot of times if I don't slow down and think, like even before coming on this show, I did a little bit of my strategic think time, is what are the things that I have to stop doing to have my most productive day, my MPD, my most productive day? What are the things I need to stop doing every single day to help me be more productive? What are the things I need to start doing to be more productive? And what are the things I need to continue to do? So start, stop, continue. If I can focus on that, I can test myself on that, I can evaluate myself on that every week, good things will start to happen when you start to do that.
So let's talk about your rituals, your habits. Let's talk about those transformational moments. I don't believe that life is all sunshine and rainbows. I don't believe that if you manifest it, all of a sudden it just appears. It takes hard work. It takes grit. It takes dedication. It takes, sacrifice. What would you say is your transformational moment that changed your life and put you on the path to what you're doing today?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think first, if I can back up just a little bit, is, that is my why, to help people achieve a future greater than their past. But at the end of the day, my why is my wife, it's my kids, it's my community. I mean, those are the things that are important to me, right? And so when I get up every day and I go through these habits and rituals, those are the things that I'm thinking about. How can I impact my personal life with my family and my wife? How can I impact our community that we get to serve and we're thankful to serve every single day with all of our clients, and all the 7 locations that we have? How do we do that better, and how do we impact the community and our clients? And so when I think about that, that's in my mind when I go through, to answer your question, the habits and the rituals. So for me, I have an alarm. Obviously, it goes off every day. Some people can get up without an alarm. I'm unlucky. I can't do that. I have an alarm that goes off every day.
Me neither.
I'm chasing them around all the time. So the alarm goes off, and I'm 41 years old. I have been for 41 years a snooze guy. Hit a snooze 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
And I've just gotten to the point where this is silly. I'm wasting this time. I'm wasting this energy. And so I'm proud to say I've gone about 65 days, maybe 70 days now without the snooze button. And that was a game changer. That's a habit, a ritual for me now, that when my alarm goes off, it has 2 things. It says 2 things that are very important to me, things that I want to accomplish. And when that alarm goes off and my screen on my iPhone says those 2 things, if I want to hit snooze, I'm choosing to snooze on my own goals and my own dreams, right? So why would I do that? And so that's the self-talk. Today was one of those. I'm up, I'm coaching basketball. We had basketball late last night. I'm home, get to bed later. And then this morning, man, I did not want to get out of bed, like not at all. And I'm like, okay, this is the one day, it's been crazy at night. This is the one time I'll just not do it. And I sat there and I thought, I can't do this. I'm 70 days or whatever it is into this. Why would I end this now? And I'm choosing to snooze on my own goals and dreams for my family and our clients and our community. I can't do that. So habit number 1 is get out of bed. Right? Just get out of bed. I go into my office. It's upstairs off of our master bedroom. I go into my office. I read. I meditate. I think. There's no social media scrolling. There's none of that stuff. It's just me, a book, my journal, and my brain. And it's just thinking. And it's getting the day started off right. What are the things I want to accomplish today? Who are the people I want to impact today? What are the calls I want to make today to make an impact with somebody? And the list can go on and on and on, right? But those are the things that are important every single day that I've got to do to be successful. So read 10 pages a day, no questions asked. Like no questions asked. And so if you can see this right now in my office, I've got them, labels on them, 2017, 18, 2019 so far. I committed in April of 2017 to never let a day go by without 10 pages. Does that mean I'm perfect?
Wow.
No, of course, there's a day that goes by. But I would say 98% of the time, 10 pages a day are being read. And it's mindset, it's growth, it's success, it's people. And I'm trying to put positive things into my life so I can put positive things out to other people's lives. And if one person on here can take one nugget away today, it's read 10 pages. And if you do that, on average, you're going to read 20 to 24 books a year. So let's just round that to call it 25. In 4 years, you're going to read 100 books. So if Shawn reads 100 books and Brett reads 0 books, who's got a better chance of winning 4 years from now? You do.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. I said earlier this year, right around April, May, I'm done reading books. I'm done.
Interesting.
So all I read is Success Magazine, Entrepreneur.com, Forbes, Huffington Post. I read nothing but like pod news articles, trending. Like I have a couple of books that people have sent me, like, dude, you got to read this book. And awesome, but I'm not going to just go out and be like, oh, that's a cool book. I think I'll read that one. If somebody wants me to read their book or give them some reviews on it, cool. I got it. I'll do that. But I've stopped reading books since like spring of this year. And I only read like the entrepreneur articles and things like that because there's not a book besides maybe like, I don't know, How to Win Friends, Influence People, The Richest Man in Babylon, something like that really like, how do I build a business in 2019? Most of those books were written 5, 10, 20, 50 years ago. Yep. How is it relevant? Facebook ads. Is there a book out there about Facebook ads? Or should I be like consuming your articles or Huffington Post? Or should I be like, what do I consume? So I just decided that I'm just not going to read books unless they're absolutely recommended to me. And I feel like I've got a better handle on things. I've seen tremendous growth because I've read articles specific to what I want to know. For example, I need to be able to wake up in the morning. How do I wake up in the morning? I found the Miracle Morning. Now I've been reading the Miracle Morning, and I read everything I can about the Miracle Morning with Hal Elrod.
Yep.
I wanted to know about the speaker business. So do I go buy a speaker book? Well, there's podcasts out there. I can absolutely listen to podcasts. But I read a lot of Speaker Magazine. So anyway, that's
I don't disagree with you on that. So that's isolating it that I don't also do that, right? And so I think what you said is true. I mean, if you have a focus, hey, I want to get out of bed earlier in the morning, then clearly you're going to read articles on that.
Have to read though.
I wanted to learn more about this whole sleep thing, right? And this whole sleep and why I hit snooze and understanding sleep. And I read a guy on my show, his name was Shawn and wrote a book called Sleep Smarter. Well, I mean, that guy's invested in his book, right? And so I can read articles, absolutely. And in my opinion, a book is going to do a deeper dive into that, whereas the article, I think, just gives you the headlines, and then it kind of makes you thirst to want more. And maybe this is just my philosophy of being in the financial industry, is a lot of the financial news, they say things like this is coming or this is going to happen or this stock does this or this stock does that. I think you have to be very careful because the old school strategies still work, right? And so I don't want to get caught up in just the latest and greatest article because, Shawn Stevenson's book, Sleep Smarter, he does a deep dive that I don't believe I can get in an article. So read the article, but also do a deep dive, and that's your 10 pages in the morning to really get a thorough understanding of what it is that you want to connect on. So all the books I read are around something that I'm trying to focus on.
Got it. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, and here's the other thing I would say, and I think you would agree with this, is just because I say it or your next guest or you or any of us on my podcast, it's what works for me, right?
Oh, sure.
So for the listeners out there,
100%.
that worked for me. Your article thing may work for you. That's great. find out what works for you. So the person listening, you have to test every single day, week, month, quarter, year, decade, right? Well, we have 3 months left in this decade. Think about that. 3 months left in this decade. Over.
Oh, man.
And so now,
so crazy,
what do you
right?
do in the next decade?
That's, oh, man. When you put it like that, you're about to close out a 10-year span. We're closing out a decade.
Right.
And this past decade has been the growth of social media, the growth of podcasts, the growth of technology. You know, I mean, it has been, I mean, if you really, since 2010, if you really look, you know, there was that .com boom back then. Well, it's been social media. It's been marketing, podcast, business. I mean, the entrepreneurship craze of the 2010 to 2020, you know, like so nuts. So I want to know your moment. We talked about it in your bio. You were you were in another financial district, if you will, another bank. You were, you know, the managing director and all that. What was the moment? What was that moment that said, you know what? I'm going to create something for myself. I'm going to create our own vision of the wealth advisors.
Yeah, I think it was, you know, looking back, I mean, it was one of those things as my income was rising, my job satisfaction was going down. And, you know, I was in my low to mid 30s and it's like, hey, I'm using air quotes here. I'm quote unquote successful, but I wanted more. And I felt our clients wanted more. And so here I was at a big financial institution and decided, hey, I think I can go do this. And build it the way, with my great business partner, Tim Hammett, build it the way that our clients want to have it. And so, you know, we wanted to take a fiduciary approach to how we work with clients. And that's doing the right thing for them, not just today and tomorrow, but it's the next day and the next day and the next quarter and the next year, right? And so I think when you surround yourself with great people, and we've got an unbelievable executive team, we've got unbelievable advisors that do great work. We call it the no a-hole rule. I don't know if you can cuss on your show or not, but we call it the no a-hole rule, and we're very serious about that. You know, I went from we'd hire anybody in our old school days to now we're very, very selective on who we bring into our firm, and we tell advisors no all the time. And I think it's just really, really important when you're talking about that transformation on what it is. What's your true vision? Hence the name of the firm, Visionary Wealth Advisors, right? What is your true vision for your life and the things that you want to accomplish? And then it's taking a risk. And, you know, my wife was 8 months pregnant with our fourth child. We had just moved into a brand new home that we built, other real estate stuff that we owned. And she says, is this the right time? And I said, no, it's a terrible time, but it's the right thing to do. And when it's the right thing to do and you've got a vision and you've got people around you and you know you've got the work ethic to go make it happen, anything in this life is possible if you just put your mind to it and put a plan to go make it happen.
Love it. So how do we do it? How do we build wealth? There's so much knowledge. You know, you can build passive income. They call horizontal income, vertical income. You know, how do we build wealth? What do you tell people when they're like, oh, you're a wealth advisor? Well, how do I do it? I think that'd be the number one question that you would get, right? Like, how do I do it?
Right. Yeah. And I think it's important to know, not to take the easy way out here, but we start everything with why. Like, why do you want to have wealth? Yeah. I mean, and define what wealth means, right? And I always say my definition of success is your definition of success. If I'm sitting down with a client or a potential prospect, my definition at that time is what their definition is. So you may want, you know, $1 quadrillion one day and 17 homes and all this stuff. Well, that's your deal, right? And I'm saying you collectively, not just Shawn, but you collectively. Sure. Well, then that's how I have to then help make things happen to make that goal happen. I may have a person over here who says, look, I just want a couple $1 million in the bank when I retire. I want to be able to kind of live on my life and do the things I want to do. I don't need this crazy lifestyle. Well, then that's a different definition of success.
Sure.
Right. But it starts with your why. When I always say, when you know your why, anyhow is possible. And so when I know why a client wants to build wealth, well, then we're going to make decisions on how we go out and build wealth. Like you said, whether it's active, if it's a passive income, if it's real estate income, if it's investing in the market, if it's investing in yourself and your business, or starting another business or investing in a business, whatever it may be, I have to know why you want to build wealth and what the ultimate goal is with that wealth.
Right. Yeah, so I read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and people talk about that, man, if you really want to build wealth, man, you got to read these books. The Millionaire Next Door. There's one by T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, I believe.
Yeah.
Is the book. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, The Millionaire Next Door.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich.
Oh yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, with the wealth quadrant and all that. What I have seen time and time again, no matter what, and you can have all of those books read and whatever, but what I have seen is in The Richest Man in Babylon, it talks about paying yourself first before doing anything else. And then there's all this other information about Dave Ramsey says debt is dumb, cash is king. Grant Cardone says leverage debt to build wealth. So with all of this information, how does one approach wealth building, or how do they approach you, or how do you approach it with so much conflicting information out there?
Yeah, no, that's and you're right, man. There's so many people that say, take on as much debt as you can, leverage yourself to the hilt, and build a lot of wealth through whatever, right? And then to your point of Dave Ramsey's of the world, no debt, and everything is cash, right? And so, I think, in my opinion, I think there's a blend. I think debt is okay when it's smart debt. I think no debt is okay, right? And so we always say, and I've said this for years, if it's a luxury that you're wanting to have, don't finance that. Pay cash for luxuries, meaning I want to go out and buy a boat. I want to go out and buy X, right? Whatever it is. I want to buy the new iPhone at $1,200. Well, don't go borrow money to go do that, right? That just should be something that you have the money for. High level on this stuff. I mean, every situation is different. Everybody's unique. And so when I make these statements as a CEO of a wealth management firm, this is not geared directly toward any one listener. Put my compliance hat on there, but I think at the end of the day, it's important to say, look, pay yourself first. I would recommend, minimally, not everybody can do this, but if we can save 20% of your income, that's going to help you be successful in the future, right? If you're a dual income house and you need to have 3 or 6 or 9 months living expenses set aside, for God forbid you or your wife loses a job, that you've got some money set aside that you're not going to go into debt because of that, right? So if your bills are $10,000 a month and you need to have, then call it minimally $60,000 set aside in savings, okay? I would feel comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with you having 3 or 4 or 5,000 set in the sidelines and then going and investing big time into, aggressive stocks or the stock market or bonds, whatever it may be, or going and buying real estate because you think you want to be the next, person that's going to flip houses and buy a bunch of all that stuff. Let's be really, really strong with the foundation, right? Get me some cash sitting on the sidelines for emergencies. Get me the right amount into my 401k plan. Save the right amount of money for your future that we know. We just do the blocking and tackling. We'll be successful. Then let's go out over here and start looking at some other stuff.
One of the strategies that I've seen that's worked very well is having, and I believe, again, I believe it comes from T. Harv Eker, I think. But I heard about 6 bank accounts. You need 6 bank accounts. One for living expenses, which is about 50% of your income. Then you split it up between the other 5 at 10%. 10% for long-term investing, 10% for fun, 10% for learning, 10% for college, and then I think there's another 10%.
Charity or something, maybe?
Charity or something, yeah. It's like giving, gifting, something like that. Giving, charity, something like that, yeah. So those ones. And I thought about it, like, well, let me look at mine, like, because there's always like debt to income ratios, and like, let me look and see the percentage, like, of my living expenses. And I'm looking, I'm like, I'm not even close. 50% of your, either I need to make more money or sell some debt, because there's no way. There's no way. I'm at like 65 living expenses between, like if you took my income, just my income, and you said 50%, and then the rest is 10%. I'm more like 65%, like living, because I'm a single income in the military. I do have businesses that bring me income too, but which I'm not counting, by the way, just military income. Now the business, if I do decide to take an income, I usually don't. But if I decided to take an income from the business, that helps a lot. But usually any money I get from my business gets reinvested back into coaches, marketing, things like that. That's exactly what would happen. But yeah, man, I'm at like 65%.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think my answer to that would be, and I don't want to keep always going back to this thing or beating this dead horse, but you got to think headlines are there to sell, right? People are trying to sell books. They're trying to sell articles. They can get into, X magazine. They're trying to get into whatever it is, right? They're trying to sell their own brand, their own situation, so they can, get more fame and fortune for their own family, right? And so I think we have to take it with a grain of salt and not be so, focus on, hey, this person said this or that person said this. What I would say to do is wherever you live, go out and find a high quality person that works for what's called a registered investment advisor, an RIA. It means they're independent. They don't have to go out and sell products. They're going to work for you and your family. So no matter what firm they're in, and get your own financial plan, right? Find out what's important to you. And then whether that's 5 accounts or 7 accounts or 2 accounts, that's what matters, right? Because it doesn't matter what it does for the person down the street. It matters for your situation. So we got to know your goals, your dreams, your objectives. Maybe you're a big philanthropy person. Maybe the other person's not, right? So that doesn't fit, that if you need to have this philanthropy account. Well, if you're not a philanthropic person, then you're probably not going to do that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So my big takeaway from this episode is that a great wealth building strategy is Bitcoin. Got it.
My compliance person is scratching his head right now.
What is happening? No, everybody right now needs to connect with Brett. He's got solid information, solid advice. He's right spot on. Connect with Brett. Go to the Visionary Wealth Advisors. Go to the website that's in the show notes of the episode. Connect with Brett on social media, and you know what? Pay for his services. Build your wealth. Go through Brett, and he'll show you what to do. Like, that's what he's here for, is to show you what to do. Brett, I have another question for you, and then we'll move on to your podcast and start wrapping up the show. What is, and I'm really, really curious about this, what is one of the worst strategies that you've seen that people try to build wealth? I'm curious what the like, please don't do this type of strategy.
I would say it's trying to follow the headlines. I mean, to keep doing that. I mean, so many times people, when you're reading the headlines, it's a headline because it's already happened, right? And so to your joke about the Bitcoin comment, I mean, if you knew how many phone calls we get about Bitcoin or some other, industries that have already, that are going to be going crazy supposedly, or will go crazy, whatever it may be, don't chase headlines, right? And then
Got it.
Also, if you look at Bill Gates, you look at Warren Buffett, you look at any of these leaders that are uber successful financially, the power of no, if you really look under the hood from them, the amount of deals and the things and the investments they say no to is off the charts, right? Again, find a high quality person, and you may be that own person yourself, but if you're not, then you need to find somebody that is a high quality person in the financial field, and find someone you trust and you just really connect with, and they're going to help you say no to a lot of decisions. I mean, the things that come across my desk that people want to invest in businesses, and, the next latest product, technology thing. I mean, you'd be shocked.
The next Uber. Brett,
right.
The next Uber.
Hey, there may be people making millions or billions, but you really got to know your own situation before you can really think about that.
Well, you really got to know business. You got to know. Yeah. I think that it has to be said, though, that Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, all of the, if you want to list every single tech, guru, Bill Gates, whatever, if you look at Richard Branson, like all of the top people who were wealthy, whatever, they invested. Yes. They said no. Yes. But it was long term. They weren't waiting for short-term gains. They weren't playing the wealth-building game for a couple months or maybe a year or two. They've been at this for a while, and they're not looking for those, okay, is this really going to mature overnight? Is this really – they're waiting to see long-term, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead. What's it going to do, and how can I flip it maybe in 5 to 10 years, or will I get my ROI back in 5 to 10 years? They're not playing these short-term wealth games. I know a guy who was CBD last week, Bitcoin this week. Who knows what the hell he's going to do next week?
Right.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that at all. Again, beating the dead horse here, but just get a great financial plan. I know it's boring. I know it doesn't sell headlines, but let me tell you, it works.
For sure. So talk about your podcast, Circuit of Success. First of all, I love the title. I was a guest on the show. Great topics. We went super deep into some things. Everybody should right now go subscribe wherever you're listening to podcasts. Search for Circuit of Success with Brett Gilliland. He covers a variety of topics in depth, and I absolutely have become a fan of the show. So talk about your show, why you started it, what's it about?
Yeah, I mean, I started it with I'm a podcast junkie myself. If there's any windshield times, I'm trying to listen to podcasts to get myself better. And I, for some reason, one Tuesday night before Christmas of 2016, I thought to myself, I think I could start a podcast. I'd never done this before. I didn't have any microphones. I had no idea what was involved with podcasts. But I thought, you know what? I love people's stories. I love hearing about dreams and what the success and the failure that people have. So why not start a podcast and see what happens? And I can tell you, it's been an unbelievable 2.5 years. Just the people that have committed to being on the show, from professional athletes to there's people like yourself and authors and big time brand leadership. We had the founder of Lululemon on. Just my gosh, the stories from some of these people have been incredible. So I jokingly call it my weekly therapy. I'm getting to dive into the minds of some of the most successful people in the world, and again, hear their success, their failures, the circuits of success. The circuits are attitude, your belief system, and then your actions ultimately get results. And those 4 things are the pillar of been my success over the last almost 20 years, and are what I'm finding is the pillar for everybody's success. You can boil it down to those 4 things. You rarely find somebody that's had, I shouldn't say rarely, you never find somebody that's had a bad attitude year after year after year and has long-term sustainable success, right? That just doesn't happen. And so, and then on the flip side, you never see somebody that doesn't take action to be successful long-term. So those are the things we're doing. The Circuit of Success, it's a blast. Love it. Do it every single Monday. It comes out. And like you said, subscribe, take a listen, and for yourself.
It's a great show, and you've nailed it. I've learned a lot. You recently had an Olympic runner.
Yeah, Nick somebody probably.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yep. And I learned a lot. There's grit, there's determination, there's failure. And I've noticed, kind of like you said, there's a theme. You don't have a bad attitude. There's a level of success that's reached, and then you got to grow from that. And, these circuits that you talked about. One that I have seen is that they expect failure along the way. It's not a surprise like, oh, no, I didn't make it. Crap, what do I do now? They kind of like, it's kind of part of the game. It's going to happen. You might fail at something every once in a while, but it's what you do with that failure that allows you to reach that next level of success. That's kind of the theme that I see with a lot of your guests.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you learn so much. I mean, one of my biggest learnings, and we kind of even joke about it here in the office, is the fears you put in your mind rarely blow up to the magnitude you put them in your mind to be, right? No matter what somebody's driving the road right now listening to, I ask this to every single guest on the show, is we all put fears in our minds. When I was starting Visionary Wealth Advisors, I put massive amounts of fears in my mind. And none of those fears blew up. Right? None of them.
For sure.
And so that's, I mean, there's lots and lots and lots of learning, but that's one of the biggest ones. Follow your dreams, follow your gut, make the right decisions, and then just take action and go make it happen.
There you go. I love it, man. So, first of all, I want to thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for coming on the show. And for the listeners, go to circuitofsuccess.com. Listen to the show. Search for it on the podcatchers. If you're an Apple user, if you're Android, search for it on Stitcher, Spreaker, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Spotify. Subscribe to Circuit of Success. The podcast is absolutely incredible. Go to Visionary Wealth Advisors. If you're serious and want to build wealth, especially if you're in your early 20s, start building wealth now. Go to visionarywealthadvisors.com. Don't wait. Build the wealth. Live the life that you had always dreamed of, and Brett is going to show you how to get there. Brett, is there anything that we didn't cover? What is your last word?
No, I think that, one, I would just say, whether you're in your 20s or your 50s or your 60s or your 70s, we work with all sorts of people that are successful. So no matter where you are, your stage of life, we can help those people. But I would just, my call to action is just go out, find your focused 90s, some things you can do the first 90 minutes of every morning and dominate that. And because if you win your morning, you will win your day. There's no question asked about it, but you'll be very clear on what that is. So it's been awesome being with you. Appreciate it, man.
Dude, I love what you said, man. When you win the morning, you win the day. That's my biggest takeaway from the Miracle Morning and the rituals of the rich, if you will, is when you win the morning, you will win the day, and set your morning off on the right path, whether it be meditation, mindfulness. Yeah, your first 90, love that. Never heard that before. I'm going to take that in and see what that does for my life. But, man, you are a wealth of knowledge, a heck of a human being, and I've loved having you on Life Transformation Radio, man. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Good being with you, and best of luck and continued success to you.
And to you. Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around him. If anything that Brett and I talked about today resonated with you, please connect with him. Let him know that you heard him here on Life Transformation Radio. And with that, I close the show by saying, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.